Howdy, Fist.org, 3 hours ago. Astronomy and space exploration. New research facility houses largest plasma wind tunnel in the US. Yeah, Andrew Hall is probably very excited. Enthalpy probe in the supersonic plasma jet is used to measure flight conditions, including pressure and heat, simulated in the tunnel. Triangle shapes all over the place. Here we have some kind of a pinch going on. And maybe some kind of low pressure bubble here. Triangular shaped buttresses in White Rivers, Morocco. 2 days ago, I have been talking about that. The triangular shaped buttresses in plasma form here. In hypersonic flight, hence supersonic winds. An aircraft or spacecraft moves at least 5 times than the speed of sound, producing extreme heat that can push the craft beyond its physical limits. The difficulty and importance of protecting vehicles against those conditions were tragically illustrated in 2003 when slight damage to heat shielding tiles caused the Space Shuttle Columbia to disintegrate while re-entering Earth's atmosphere. I had to switch to desktop mode because it didn't work. A unique experimental facility at the University of Illinois. Champaign. Urbana-Champaign? Okay. Will help ensure that such tragedy is never repeated and enable unprecedented new adventures in space exploration and better a new understanding of geology on Earth. The Plasmatron X. That's a nice name. Plasmatron is the largest inductively coupled plasma wind tunnel in the United States. Its purpose is to test materials to determine whether they can withstand the conditions that characterize extreme hypersonic flight by subjecting them to the intense heating encountered at high speeds. A plasma wind tunnel is a facility in which energy is added to gas to the point that it ionizes and becomes plasma, mimicking the atmospheric conditions encountered in hypersonic flight. An inductively coupled plasma wind tunnel. There is no contact between the high-temperature plasma and electrodes. I bet there is. Francisco Panerai, an assistant professor in the Department of Aerospace Engineering and one of the leaders of the Plasmatron X effort, said pure flow created by contactless plasma generation is a big part of what makes the Plasmatron X a superior research tool. The absence of contact prevents contamination, creating a pristine environment that is the same on that vehicles find when they travel high up in the atmosphere. He said, the result is a much better understanding of materials behavior enabling materials science grade type of testing. Yes. I just want to point out they really have to test. They want to test. They don't calculate those. If their mathematics would be correct, they would just calculate and everything would be fine. But they have to make a laboratory. AE Professor Greg Elliott, who also plays a leading role with the Plasmatron X, noted that its size is another essential feature because larger samples and systems can be studied. It can also produce more heat enthalpy over a larger area, and we can run longer times, continuously, for hours. So we can provide an extreme environment for long test times and then change parameters to mimic different flight and re-entry conditions, Elliott said. How extreme is Plasmatron X? The interior can reach temperatures of about 10,000 degrees Kelvin compared to which the surface of the Sun, at a mere 5,778 degrees Kelvin seems almost chilly. Yeah, it's almost like a lightning strike. Aha. A severe cooling system combined with the lack of contact between the plasma and interior walls makes it possible to work safely with such high temperatures. Aerospace professor and director of the Center for Hypersonics and Entry System Studies at Illinois' Marco Paganesi said the mission of CHESS is to address all the challenges of hypersonic flight. The Plasmatron X will be critical to that mission because thermal protection is one of the weakest links in hypersonic systems. But we also do a lot of modeling and simulation for the flow and the plasma around the vehicle, radiation and sensing, he said. The impossibility of directly measure all the quantity of interest to the design of hypersonic systems makes the high-fidelity modeling of such environment critical to the operation of the high-energy wind tunnels. One of its first research projects is NASA's Dragonfly mission. Dragon. Sending a drone to search for life on Saturn's largest moon, Titan. Titan's atmosphere, about 95% nitrogen and 5% methane, is very different from Earth's, but that's no problem for the Plasmatron X, which Elliot said can simulate conditions for any other atmosphere of planets or moons that you would want to have a re-entry system survive in. Elliot said another reason for establishing this unique facility is to launch UIUC graduates into the world with a background that no one else can compete with. Okay, that's our goal, that students go out there and have this unique capability to take the science further than we can imagine or dream about. Very interesting. Largest plasma wind tunnel in the USA. There's like other people's, Donald Scott and Michael Claridge and Walt Thornhill and who else was involved in that? The SAFIRE project. That's several years old. It has to do quite much with plasma as well. So I just wanted to show you also this because I think it's important and they are very strongly related with each other. Enjoy.
In fact, all the evidence to date indicates that electricity is the primal force in the universe. SAFIRE is a nuclear plasma reactor designed to reproduce the atmosphere of the Sun in a laboratory. A wide array of instruments provides real-time data of the chamber conditions, allowing a level of control not available in most reactors. Optical spectroscopes, mass spec and neutron detectors, bolometers, thermocouples, infrared and UV cameras, 4K digital cameras, and patented gimbal-controlled Langmuir probes, which can monitor electrical conditions while also recording optical and mass spec data.
Bring the chamber down.
Telemetry can move the Langmuir probes throughout the chamber, accurate to within 0.02 millimeters.
I bring your power back, your voltage back.
All data is sent to the SAFCON control, where it is captured and cataloged for later analysis.
Okay, let's bring it back up. You're almost there. Yes, 20 Cody. 20 Cody said. Go to the second button to the left, up top.
The SAFIRE team has discovered the key to obtaining and sustaining high-energy plasmas. SAFIRE can create, control, contain, and repeat any number of plasma regimes. The hot plasma self-organizes and develops its own electromagnetic containment field. How does it work? We introduce hydrogen into the chamber. The anode is a metal alloy. The power going in is electrical. The reaction produces high energy levels which translate to thermal heat. The heat creates steam to run a turbine to generate electricity. The hydrogen can be reused. The output is electricity, the majority going to an external grid and the rest routed back to the power input. To date, after the reactions, all measurements and analysis show this to be a clean process, producing no negative radioactive side effects. In fact, note that nuclear radioactive materials are not required. SAFIRE is mixing elements at the atomic level. What you are looking at is a patented design that uses atomic hydrogen in a self-organized plasma. The atomic hydrogen interacts with the other elements in the chamber, causing nuclear reactions that are transmuting elements from one to another.
Let me show you still one quick thing about, as we came here to the periodic table of the elements. That's part two, and part of the part two from James Sorensen's about elemental transmutations in nature, which I also will put a link down below. Edwin Kahl and James Sorensen, they are really up to something. Let's have a quick listen to him as well, because they all tie together.
But the last one is nuclear energy, and Ida will be talking about that also. Why does this structure explain what nuclear energy is? Which is not too bad a thing to figure out. So this kind of goes over some of the basic ideas. It's based on the proton-electron. The neutron is a proton-electron pair, no strong force, does not need mathematical. And this is still one of the most exciting things about it. I think science should be a lot of fun for kids. And this is a theory that you can teach kids and maybe get some excitement back in science again. It's static in nature, and I've had several people come up to me and talk to me about this one. This is a hard one for them to believe in, because we've been taught things are whizzing around and switching places and spinning and their light speed, and this theory is that it's a static structure. If something moves, you now have an isotope or you have a new element. If the nucleus changes in any way, it changes the element.
Yes. Back in the days when I have been in school, they couldn't make me get too much interested into the stuff they were telling me. I wanted to ride my bike. And I think those people who tried, they weren't bad people. Not at all, because they were trying to teach. It's not their fault that they didn't know that they don't know. That most of the stuff I got taught turned out to be wrong. And since it took me, personally, many years to figure that out, I just somehow tried to save some other people's time with searching for truth or whatsoever by sharing these kind of splinters of knowledge about things which are all tied together And you can also, like, where we started off from this plasma wind tunnel, we see those triangle shapes, which are very common in geology. Like I have been showing many times, the conductivity and resistance and the amount of power into whatever medium gets induced, it will react accordingly. And it's all very interesting. And it stays interesting. There's so much still to learn. And the possibility for us all to gather knowledge in the easiest way possible for free with your cell phone in your hand is something which is, in a way, not only underestimated, but it should be more, like, people should be more aware of this amazing possibility of having the possibility to gather knowledge, search for things, and whatever you want to. Because it will end at one point. Like, you don't need to have no electricity. Like, someone figures out that breaking some cable in the seas with the internet connections, and there's no internet anymore. You still have electricity, but there's no internet. Or if there's no electricity, there will be no internet. And if it comes back once, it might be different than it has been before. You have to expect some changes in not too distant future about many things. And probably faster than you could expect. And on levels you couldn't imagine. So I just try to spread out knowledge from really wise people. And hopefully someone can do something out of it. For me, it's really satisfying to be able to share these kind of things. It's a privilege, and I'm really aware of that. I don't take it for granted. Often I think after I made some video, something like this here, maybe this was the last video I've ever did. Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, thanks.